Tonight's 5 questions with a superstar. Special guest, Michael Berryman. Berryman.
Who rang that bell?
Uh-oh.
Hey, what's up, man? How are you?
I'm doing great.
You doing good? Hey, are you down to do this interview with us real quick?
Well, I'm living to do it.
All right, awesome.
You can hear us okay?
I hear you real good.
Awesome.
All right, cool, man.
All right,
Thanks.
let's get into it.
Let's
then.
do it. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for tonight's 5 questions with a superstar with special guest Michael Berryman. Yeah. All right, Michael, are you there? Yeah.
That was Pluto.
Hell yeah. Yeah, it was. That's what. Okay. All right. Look, we're all ready to get started. Look, you started in Academy Award winning films like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Man.
As Ellis in 75. Then in Wes Craven's Hills Have Eyes in 77, you were Pluto. We established that. You actually reprised the role in 85's Hills Have Eyes Part 2. I want to know, do you feel more comfortable playing the darker tone characters? Is that home? Is that like I gravitate to that role, or do you like aspire you're like I want to play something else?
I shall be a thespian.
Right. You're like I want to do Hamlet, or you're like no, hell no. This is me. This is my calling.
First of all, I would say I like a really good story, and I appreciate a good director, someone who can
That's
really
awesome.
bring a story to life. When I met Wes Craven and Peter Locke, I sat down with them and he talked about the McBean family and the history based on fact of this type of family. So the interactions between the characters and these two families is a parallel to show some of society's situation.
So rad. He is dropping knowledge on you guys. Sorry.
You do that by comparison. You do that by creating a fictional character, and then you juxtaposition that against what happens in the real day to day. So yes, I like all types of roles.
All right.
I don't always tell my manager, it's got to be a horror movie, it's got to be a scary
Fair
movie.
enough.
Because if I did that, I'd be working a lot less, and I love to work. I love
Amen.
the art of telling stories. Yeah.
That's awesome, but I love that too. I love how you're passionate about the actual storytelling and that it's got to be a solid story for
That
you
it
to get
matters.
on board. Yeah, that it matters. That's a quality person right there.
You know what? That's the key to longevity, I believe, as well.
It
is
is.
not taking everything at your doorstep and really having some type of integrity, and we love you for that.
We do. We absolutely love you for that. Okay, hold on. Random question. We here at Ashtrays and Action Figures, we always focus on superheroes and toys. What kind of toys did you play with as a kid?
Yeah, and if there was one that you could have kept, it would have been Bam.
Yep.
Well, I grew up on old school science fiction.
Okay.
Nice.
So I was upset when King Kong died. I was upset when
That's cool.
Godzilla got disintegrated. I wanted Godzilla to go to the deepest depths of the ocean and be safe.
See? Yeah, hell yeah. You're always rooting for the bad guy. That's awesome. Hell yeah.
They're misunderstood.
Yeah.
I got it. I know. I'm on your team. I
Yeah.
love it. I love it. That's fucking awesome. Hell yeah.
We put ourselves in that category.
We
of
do. We
misunderstood.
absolutely do.
Oh,
That's
of
why.
course.
That's why we relate so well. That's great. Holy
Well, it's
shit.
like, misfits sometimes have the right message.
Yeah, absolutely. You got it. You
They're
know
just
it,
maybe talking to the wrong people.
right? So
Well, yeah, if you have to explain yourself too much, you might want to question who you're hanging with. As a kid growing up, I had a Lionel train set,
that's awesome.
and I had comic books. I loved all DC.
Yes.
Marvel wasn't really happening too
Yes.
much yet, but I was a DC comic guy.
Oh, you're so rad for that.
I actually drew out pictures for Batman and Robin suits that my next youngest brother, and I could be Batman and Robin.
That's
my
so
uncle
fucking
worked
cool.
for NASA, and he worked on the X-15 and other secret stuff. And I would make designs, and he would put them up in his office, and
That's
I thought maybe
awesome.
someday he would come by our house and go, "Oh, here's that that invisibility flying suit.
Yes, that you drew. Right,
That
absolutely.
you wanted that.
Yeah. So wait. So you say comics? Do you have any of these comics left? Do you have any of the toys? Do you have the train set? Do you have any of the stuff still in the collection?
Well, I had a Lionel train set. I had a lot of DC comics. Some of them all first editions, and my brother gave them all away when I went to college. Just like I hear that story all the time.
Yeah, I know. I was going to say the same thing. Like I've heard that story with Star Wars figures, and
if you weren't my mother.
Right. My mom threw all my baseball cards away. Like, oh my God, you know how many of those moms and brothers and uncles and aunts are probably kicking themselves in the ass for the millions of dollars worth of amazing collectibles and just all around cool shit.
I had a signed Sandy Koufax.
I can't even imagine what the value on that would be. That's amazing.
So they graded out.
So I don't want to think about it. I might cry.
Right. Okay, so then let me ask you that. Well, back to it. What if you could have one of them back? What would it be? Would it be the Koufax auto? Is that what it was? That's what you're thinking?
Or the train set?
Or would it be the train set?
Yes.
Which has more memories?
Well, actually, I had more memories with the train set, but I had a more intense memory with Sandy Koufax because I was at Dodger Stadium and watched him pitch a perfect game.
Oh man!
And in the glass half full.
And he signed it. That day.
Yeah, I was gonna say the Koufax card would probably be the more valuable of the two.
That Lionel stuff is worth a lot of money.
It truly is. But the Koufax with the auto is probably
very nice.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm an immense sports fan.
He loves it.
The last 3 innings of the game, everybody was on their feet for the whole last 3 innings. It was insane.
That's great.
Grown men were swinging the bat and looked like it went right through the ball. And in those days, they didn't throw the bat and they didn't break them over their knee. They weren't crybabies.
They weren't all hopped up on the juice.
That's probably it. They were, all roided up.
They were real
crazy.
players.
They weren't doing steroids. These were
Fair enough.
These were athletes that worked real hard and
did it the old-fashioned way, just by being athletic.
Are you still a sports fan?
I loved what they did. He was an artist.
That doesn't count as one of our questions, goddammit.
No. Are you still a sports fan?
Michael, if you answer this question, it does not count as one of our questions. Monoxide has an impromptu question. It's not one of the 5, but go ahead. If you answer it, it's on you. Go ahead.
Are you still a sports fan?
Oh, yes.
Damn.
Yeah. I like Wisconsin. I'm a Green Bay cheesehead.
Yes.
Aaron Rodgers.
There it is. Hell yeah.
And I also love golf, and I also like billiards.
Okay, nice. Now
That's
I fancy
cool.
myself a horrible billiars player, so maybe one day
He is. He absolutely is.
we'll get together.
He absolutely is.
Sure.
All right, I'm sorry.
I'll drink beers while you guys play horrible golf. It'll be great. It'll be a great time. All right, look, check it out. This was my number 3. In 2007, you won the Igor Award for career contribution in horror genre. Okay. What I want to know is, do you feel there are any more unsung horror legends out there like yourself that just don't get that kind of acknowledgement? I mean, look how long it took for you to get that kind of nod. That people to be like, hey man, give this motherfucker an award. He is amazing.
Right.
It's like, is there anyone else out there like that you're like, you know what? He never got one, and he's just as cool as I am. You know what I mean? Like, who would that be?
Yeah. Well, what comes to mind immediately is my dear friend Kane Hodder.
Nice.
Oh, wow. Yeah, he's a good pal of ours too. Yeah, he's a good dude. Kane's all right.
Kane is awesome.
You guys just did Smothered.
Yeah.
Yes, his autobiography is very interesting, but we did a movie together called Ed Gein, the Butcher of Plainsfield.
Yep,
Yes,
I know it. Yep.
And we're in the opening first 15 minutes or so of the film, and he was so excited to be in the truck with me and having dialogue.
That's
and he was
awesome.
like a giddy little kid.
Yeah.
We were getting ready we had the walkie-talkies that night. We're out at the ranch, and I go, man, this is great. You had some really good lines. I said, man, you have a dramatic role. You know, you're not just a stuntman. He's a great stuntman, by the way.
Absolutely.
One of the best. A very safe coordinator. I love that. And the scene where before he kills me with the shovel, and we're having our conversations, and it was, as a director, if I didn't even know these actors and saw that scene, I'm going, wow, was really well performed. So I believe that Kane deserves
Would be that, yeah.
more dramatic roles because the guy
awesome.
he's so intense, but he has a soft side that.
Yeah. No, something to be said
from within.
Of his character. He's very passionate about his work, and he's very passionate about doing it taking it to that limit. You know what I mean? Like, he really
He's
knows
another one. He has integrity.
Exactly.
And it comes through.
And it really shows. Absolutely. Very, very, very good answer. All right, cool. Number 2.
Well,
sorry.
I just want to say, you know where I think Kane would be awesome in?
What's that?
A guest star appearance on Supernatural.
Wow, that would be
I thought Sons of Anarchy.
Fit right in with the guys.
He would.
I was thinking
that'd be a really good fit.
That's a good show. That's a good show too.
I'd like to see him on the Sons of Anarchy, though.
Could do a email flood to Supernatural producers.
Right.
We want to see Kane Hodder.
Absolutely. No, that's great. We're going to get that trending out tonight. Hell yeah. We're going to get hashtag Kane on Supernatural.
Yes.
And we're going to tag at CW Network in there, too, to get everybody getting that happening.
And if they don't, we're going to storm down the gates until they do.
Right. And just be like, why are you guys being dicks? Put them on there. That would be a great thing, and people want to see it. All right, look, check this out. What people don't know is that you were actually in the original 1994 Crow movie, and they deleted the scene. Are you pissed about that? Because I'm fucking pissed about that. So you gotta be
bugs
pissed.
Up our asses.
I'm fucking heated about this. Like, how dare they? We've been edited out of shit, so I know what that feels like, and I fucking hate that.
And we get pissed.
So I just want to know or maybe you're better than us, and you're like, hey, you know what? I've learned to deal with it.
All right.
It's a part of
maybe
acting.
you could give us some words of encouragement.
We're not legitimate actors. You're a legitimate actor. We just dabble. You do this shit for a living. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's like
what I do on webcam when I'm naked is nothing like what you're doing today. It's just incomparable.
You know what I'm saying, though? But it's like, you know,
I do.
But
what happened with that was, it was a wonderful experience to get to know Brandon, work with him, have dinner with him, chill out, talk about our parents, our growing up, how we love his story.
Yeah. His dad was Bruce Lee. How cool is that? I would have said that to him. I would have had to.
I did. I mean, we were very, very, very close.
That's awesome.
What happened was, I was furious when I found out how he died.
Yeah.
And the people that I was furious with were the people that changed the laws in the state of North Carolina to where you can destroy labor unions, and the company was forced by labor laws in the state of North Carolina, this is my understanding, that after so many weeks of production, they could hire a local guy for less money to do some of the stunts and the guns. It was basically the armorer. This is my understanding.
Skimping on the safety to save some money, for lack of better terms.
Exactly. And the guy was probably overwhelmed, and I got the phone call from my producer and director telling me what had happened. I just gotten off the phone with the National Enquirer and all the other rag sheets that somehow paid somebody money to get my unlisted phone number. And the first thing I heard out of their mouth was, hey, I have a call sheet. 3 Michaels were on the set. You're a Michael. Did you kill Brandon? And I wanted to rip him a new one, but I just said, hey, it looks like I'm going to switch to my other phone, and I just hung up on him.
Yep.
Wow, you took the high road on that one.
Well, and I called a buddy who's a film historian, and I said, hey, Johnny, you got to come pick me up, and we're going to go to my friend's bar. It was 3 in the afternoon, and I says, you're going to have to drive me home because I'm a wreck right now. After I tell you what I got to tell you, I want to be. I was in grief it was painful for months afterwards.
Oh, I can imagine.
But the reason we got cut out was because, see, Brandon got shot 2 days before I was to fly out. I had my plane ticket. I was supposed to fly out, and it was just going to be Brandon Lee and Michael Berryman doing the 3 confrontations where Eric Draven is confronted by Skull Cowboy, and I tell him early in the film, like when he comes out of the grave.
So cool. This is so fucking cool.
Footage.
Sorry, this is so fucking cool.
I was right there. We filmed that footage where I have a conversation with him, and he goes, who the hell are you? He comes out of the grave because I arrived with the crow. Wow. And the crow taps on the gravestone, the blood comes down, it triggers him to be resurrected. And I explained to him, kill the ones that killed you both, or you will not be reunited with your beloved. And then there's a second time when he's starting to help Sarah and go after other bad people that did not have specific connections, and through the death of him and his fiancee. And then the third time is when we're in front of the cathedral, and I disintegrate, and then the crow leaves with me, but comes back at the end of the movie. Now, if you get the double DVD crow set,
I heard that it's on there now.
Footage, and you can see some of that. There's
Yeah.
a book, Kitchen Sink Press publisher, where there's 4 pages dedicated to, it's called On the Cutting Room Floor, dedicated to the Skull Cowboy with some awesome pictures.
That sounds so cool.
When they went to do, I called production, I said, when you guys gear up to finish the movie, could we film those 3 confrontations? But we couldn't do it without Brandon's face. So it just didn't happen, and that's why they couldn't use any of our footage. So it was one of the toughest times I've ever had in this industry, and it was really unfair. And the guy was incredible, Brandon Lee.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was just a real fucked up situation, man.
Yeah, no, I agreed.
I can't watch any of the remakes. I love the original.
Yeah.
My favorite scene is, and Rochelle Davis and I, we keep in touch. We're really close friends. Tony Todd, I see Tony all the time. But
that's awesome.
There's the scene when Darla is getting the heroin out of her arm, and Brandon says, "Heroin is bad for you. Mother is the name. God is the name for mother on the hearts and lips of all children. Go, your daughter needs you." And that was a local actress, and that scene was so compelling. I was right there next to the camera.
That dialogue is deep, though. That's why it was heartfelt. It was like, that was deep dialogue. I remember that shit. That's moving, you know. That's
totally.
amazing.
That's what storytelling's about. Otherwise,
I
you
feel
have
it.
Donald Trump.
I feel it.
Yeah.
I feel it.
That's a whole nother 5 questions. But
That's a whole other time.
Right.
Be very afraid, America. Be very afraid.
We
Right.
have
Get out and vote. Please.
Yeah, right.
now, when we do what we do as Twiztid, we get to wear makeup.
Right.
So
What do you look like today?
Today we are white-faced demons
Yes.
with the eyes of darkness.
Indeed.
Okay.
And one of us has no shirt, the other has no pants. That's for you to judge and find out who that is later on. But
We will move on. This is question number 1.
We get to take that makeup off
last
and kind of
question.
hide from the popularity, so to speak. You don't
Right.
get to do that. So is there ever a time where it becomes annoying to you? Like, okay, Jesus,
You're like,
I just
"Dude,
want
I'm
to eat
trying
my
to
French
eat."
toast.
Right. It's breakfast time. I understand, you know.
Or are you
hello.
just all embracing? Like, we're human. So, we have our days.
I'll tell you a quick story. One night, when it was around 1970. Let's see, when was that? Okay, well, I was in Santa Monica, and I went, and my brother and I decided to fire up a blunt, and we went to 31 Flavors, and we wanted ice cream.
That's awesome.
It was late, and there was only one other guy in the store, and it was Rod Serling.
Whoa! Get the fuck out.
So he's getting his ice cream, and he's ready to walk out. Wow. And I look at my brother, and we're kind of giggling a little bit, and my brother does this.
Right.
And Rod Serling looks at us and runs out the front door, and I go, that was stupid. So I chase after him to the curb, and he has a Lincoln Town Car, a driver, and he's smoking a cigarette, and I go, please, it's okay, don't be afraid of us, I just want to say thank you. And he goes, puts his foot on the bumper, smokes a cigarette, lights another one. He goes, thank me for what? I was really nervous and got a buzz going. And here's what I say. I go, your brain. And he goes, God, start the car. And I go, no, wait a minute. I'm nervous. And he's sort of smiling at this point. He's going, man, what are these stoners up to? And he goes, he looks at me and he raises his finger and he goes, what are you trying to tell me? And I exhale and I go, you tell really good stories. And then he said, which ones? Well, 25 minutes later, we're still talking about the henpecked husband that liked books, and he in the bank vault, and then there's, to the Shatner with the gremlin on the wing of the
Sterling
airplane.
smoked 2 packs in that time period.
And he was just so nice, and he goes, he says, well, thank you very much. He says, be looking for my new show. And I go, what's that going to be called? And he goes, it's going to be called The Night Gallery.
Nice.
Yeah.
And off he drove down San Vicente. We were right at 26th Street and San Vicente in Santa Monica.
That's cool.
And he's driving down into the fog, into the night.
What an amazing
and
story.
And I go, wow, what are the odds of that ever happening again?
Right.
So that was really cool. Now, to get back to your question, when I was very young, I had skull surgery, reconstructive surgery, when I was like 5 years old. My dad was a very prominent brain surgeon. He got me a good doctor, and they cut my skull open and fabricated it. It grew back. The hair didn't come back. But I was gawked at as a kid, but not for being a celebrity. So It was ironic that I wind up, thanks to George Powell, getting into Doc Savage, and then Cuckoo's Nest was next. So I started to get attention, and for reasons that were a little bit different, but it was still visual. And then you start working with wonderful people. Like I worked with Paul Newman on his charities, and I started to meet people like Cheryl Ladd and Queen Latifah.
That's cool.
And some rock and roll people that actually can separate their persona and stage persona and invite you into their real world, which is like a lot of the wonderful charities. If you're making good scratch, then scratch somebody else's back. Instead of buying a Bentley or a bling crap, why don't you set up a perpetual charity that really does good work, and the money doesn't all go through the administrator. It actually goes
to whatever you're trying to do. Yeah.
Right.
So that's the kind of involvement and family that I met on my second day actually, was Cuckoo's Nest, 127 days. So I got to meet all these really wonderful people, and a movie that could not be made even by Kirk Douglas in his prime because nobody wanted to deal with mental illness.
Wow.
I've been around sanitariums with my father being a neurologist when I was very young, and I started to see the decline in our health care in this country since the early 1950s, etc. And I'm going, wow, there is a humanity disconnect going on, you see. So what happened? I was given an opportunity to care for my family, to pay my bills, to pay my mortgage, because I had a lot of medical issues. I don't do heat well, and I had a lot of other things to deal with. So I lost a lot of jobs. I couldn't get my degree in college because I ran out of money, and times were tough. And I had a chance to do something else. I have a degree in art history, actually, a minor, and so art history turned into pictures turned into movies. I loved to sing. I loved all kinds of music. I knew Bob Dylan for a couple of years. Joni Mitchell, I met her a few times.
All iconic stoners.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh,
I know what you were doing.
Artists.
You're smoking weed with those people.
I can't live without art. So
that's awesome.
Now when people come up and talk to me, I can discuss it. I like to take it right to where they're at. I appreciate what they comment about, but I have had a few situations. They're very rare. Like at a convention, we always do room service because someone will come up and want to take the fork out of your hand so they can sit down and just get a quick picture. And they're there for having a good weekend, a good time. So.
Yeah, but that's rude though. At a point,
Well,
it becomes rude.
That's
the whole full circle of the question. It's like, do you find it annoying when people do that kind of thing? Because I understand it's like if it starts at a certain point of a day, we come into contact with things like that at some point, and it's like sometimes you have to do you say something? You know, you're having a meal, you're having a conversation, and people say, "I don't mean to bother you," but clearly they're going to. But I'm going to. I don't mean to, but I'm going to. And not only am I going to, right while you're about to put more food in your mouth. You know what I mean?
What I'll do, like sometimes if we're having dinner with maybe a bunch of us celebs, somebody we'll all kind of give each other a quick eye, and someone will speak up. A lot of times Sid Haig will be very polite. Yes. We'll just say, hey, look, after we have dessert, we'll meet you over there. You can buy us a drink. and then we can do some selfies and chip. But right now, we need to unwind a little bit and just have some fun. And 99% of the time, people, they just want to be acknowledged, and they go, okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
And trust me, when you get to leave, we go do that.
And that's the thing,
There's a few rare exceptions when it's kind of crappy. Like I had a guy one time, I was with my gal at a nice place where you could have dinner and go dancing.
Right.
And I was with some friends of mine that were retired men in suits, men in black. I had a lot of friends in law enforcement. Anyway, we were there, and this guy was pretty drunk, and he started telling me that my girlfriend should be with him because I was so not as handsome as he was, and I'm being very, very polite.
Right, about how he was saying it. Right, I got you.
So I'm just checking this guy out. I'm looking for bulges in his pockets, in his jacket, watching his hands. I've got a fork ready. You know, you never know.
You turned it into Pluto on him like you want it.
Right, we can take it to the hills if you want.
Right. Fuck yeah, that's right.
I know. So I have a cue that I always make if I'm out in public in a certain place, and I'll just tell the bouncer, I said, if I tug on my ear like this, that means please come over here and take Mr. Wonderful outside and have a conversation. But it's only happened on rare occasions, and that's nice. But and if somebody's just really plastered, I'll say, buy him a drink, and then I'll be right back, and then I just leave and go to my room.
100%.
That's awesome, because when they're really drunk around me, I go through their pockets and steal their wallets and their loose cash.
Well, you know, conventions are fun, and if you're dressed up like you sound you are, then you're asking for attention.
Right. Oh yeah. No. 100%.
We're actually hiding
It would be a
from the
bummer if
attention.
they ignored you.
Attention. Right. Exactly. Well, it's Twiztid, so that's how we do it. Well, look, check it out. We want to thank you so much, you know, for stopping by and for doing this with us here, and
letting us make you just talk your ear off a little bit.
Right. Hell yeah. That's awesome.
I enjoy it.
Hell
I
yeah.
do. I really do. I just want to do a shout out to all my fans and say thank you for all the fan mail and shout outs on Facebook and all the many people that come up and share their stories at my table at a show. I know it means a lot to you, and it does mean a lot to me too.
Tell them about Smothered. Tell them about Smothered.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Educate them real quick.
Well, Smothered is a kind of a cool idea.
It's an amazing idea from John Schneider of the Dukes of Hazzard.
John Schneider, there's a story where, there's a horror convention in a little town, and there's some very foxy ladies that want to invite everybody to their place and maybe make a movie. So all I can say is that things go from bad to worse. So if someone is like saying, oh, I really, really like you and this and that and da-da-da-da-da-da. And,
so is this out yet or coming out? We got a release date for this?
I don't know. They were supposed to, if there's a DVD, they're supposed to send me one as per my contract.
We're going to post the trailer on
we're going to post up the trailer online and let everybody check it out.
Oh, good.
So they can see that.
It's a cute story.
It's very funny.
That's right.
The trailer had me cracking up.
That's amazing.
Yeah, John was a lot of fun.
Awesome. Well, we want to thank you again one more time, Michael Berryman, for stopping by. This has been 5 Questions with a Superstar on Ashtrays and Action Figures. And now let's get into this.